Hey guys, so back for the next topic points. This is actually what I'm learning in the moment today, and I need to record it because I had a pretty big epiphany like 10 minutes ago. Self epiphany. I'm going to share with you what I've learned because I think a lot of us potentially are suffering from it as we make the shift into this new paradigm, a new self, a new understanding, and a whole lot of things going on. So in the last episode, I was talking about integration, and I think part of the integration that's been happening for me the last couple of days has really been, you guys have heard me talking about, kind of coming to the understanding of self-abuse and really what that's been looking like for me. And just understanding if I'm trying to remove the stored trauma within my physical body. I've dealt with emotional stuff. I've dealt with so many layers of it. And I've passed that. But the problem for me personally is it's stuck in my physical body, which is preventing me from being healthy and well. But it's also this awareness about, I'm learning about how we're still causing this trauma to ourselves through stress and allowing that stuff. So it definitely has a lot more to do. It has to do with a lot of things. I think I probably just need to sketch out all the dots I'm seeing and create a mind map of where stress is going and the implications of it. But for today was really this thing around self-acceptance and understanding. And so I was seeing some of that information yesterday as it was integrating, but then also this morning was that self-doubt. We talk about it as imposter syndrome. We talk about as we awaken and we step into who we are and we come into a deeper awareness of our innate gifts and talents, how that they're expressed, how they're used, how we work with energy individually, uniquely. It's even though I mastered the whole imposter syndrome, like I talked about the other day, and I had mastered working through comparing myself to other people in terms of my gifts, it's I mastered it in the third, fourth dimensional realm. But now that I'm working personally, I'm in 5-6, kind of working through this dimensional state of understanding and knowing and energies. It's a whole separate thing, because now all of a sudden it's my eyes are open to all this new stuff. And because it's so open and new to me in this new space of awakening, that I'm oh, what now? Am I the baby again? Do I not know things? And I think that even when we're learning, because we should always be learning, lifelong learners, and as we're coming into more awareness and we're expanding our consciousness more to understand more who we are and our connection to all, I think that we've got to be conscious that we're not putting self-doubt back in there, because that's an old program. We've left that in the other dimensional energy. And it's a denser thing, right? Because self-doubt certainly isn't love. That's not self-love, and it's not acceptance, and it doesn't feel good at all. It's not a feel-good vibration. And so this whole thing then about what I was saying about the doubt was, this is going to sound really weird to a bunch of people, but here we go. This is my first big that. So the other day I made a dragon egg chi ball for a good friend of mine who needed it. And I had kind of set parameters with that chi ball that it could be accessed over the course of a couple of days, because I knew she needed to access it and step away, and then access it and step away. And in order to process this particular healing and this particular challenge that she was in the middle of. And so the interesting thing was, when I went to hand it off to be delivered, the egg turned into an actual dragon egg with the way you would visualize a dragon egg, and this beautiful aquamarine hard scales came around the shell, and then it went off to her, and she received it. And she said, thank you. That really felt really good. And then the next day says, sorry, I'm going to sit on my foot. The next day then goes, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. I went to access it again and the damn thing hatched. And all of a sudden I have this purring aquamarine baby dragon. Like, what the what? And I was like, right? But the part of that for me was, well, wait a minute. If somebody else had done that, I would have totally accepted it right off the bat because I trusted the person. Like if my mentor did that, I'd be like, hell yeah, of course she could do it. She's like, because I look at her in my mentor in this very specific way. I don't know if she knows that I call her that or see her that way, but I do. And, but yet I have so much faith and trust in how my perception of her gifting and the truth that she holds within her gifting, not, anything else other than that. So for me, I'm like, whoa, are we sure? Are you sure that happened? Are you sure that was me? Maybe that was something else. And so I was automatically disqualifying myself, and I shouldn't have. And then another thing happened this morning where somebody approached me with a dream. And because my closest friends only currently know this about me, so let's go public with it. I do a lot of dream interpretation that's pretty freaky, spot on. And only, like I said, only a couple of close people to me actually know that. And they'll come to me sometimes when things are like, shit's really weird. And this was a really weird one. So anyways, I walked through it and immediately wanted to disqualify myself again. When she came back, she's like, oh my God, that totally resonates. You nailed it. And I'm like, really? I did? Oh, and I had to catch myself in that, like literally within 2 seconds, I'm catching myself going, wait a minute. You disqualify it because it's as easy as breathing to you. It's just a natural, innate boom, boom, boom. The information's there. But yet I disqualified myself because I was waiting for some sort of external validation from some other guru, but I don't need to validate myself through another guru. Like I have to trust myself. This is an internal situation of trust. And so that kind of spun me off into the next part of my epiphany, which was my understanding and awareness that I'm coming into that my work within the spiritual community as a healer is more cerebral. It's mind technology. And I understand it in ways that the vast majority of people don't. And so I discredit that in some way because that doesn't feel very energy driven or spiritual, does it? But again, we're looking sometimes for like labels and validations still, and we've got to be really careful in New Earth energy because that's not New Earth energy. We cannot live and work and be and do in New Earth energies with those old programs and mindsets. And so fortunately I'm able to see them very quickly now and then reprogram that. But yeah, that was this big thing. It's like I need to have more self-acceptance of knowing what I'm really great at and stop trying to make it like somebody else's. The way I sense and see and feel and interact and engage with energy is very different than anybody else I know. So if I put 6 people just came to mind. If I put all 6 of them in front of me, each one of them is going to have a different way they engage and interact and read and sense the information. None of it is like how I do it, and they all do it differently as well. Some of them are common and same and similar, familiar, but it's not the same. And yet that is not a reason for me to disqualify myself from being at the table. And so here's the other medical imagery they gave me. If I was a medical doctor, let's just say, for example, of this situation, I'm a surgeon, and I got called in to do a consult on another patient. Another doctor called and said, hey, surgeon, we need you to come and do a consult on this person. And we're going to need you to operate this very delicate procedure. And I went to do that consult with the other doctor in the room or even without. I don't question my skills and abilities as a surgeon. when I go into that room as the medical physician, right? And I wouldn't question myself in front of the other doctor who said, hey, I need somebody with this specific surgeon skill set to come in and work on this specific problem. Can you take a look and then go ahead and do your magic? I'm going to stand over here because that's not my specialty, right? That's why I called you in, not my specialty. And yet we wouldn't, that surgeon's not going to step in the room with say an ER trauma doc. He's not going to stand in the room with that ER trauma doc and be like, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm just a surgeon. You're an ER trauma doc. We work differently. So blah, blah, blah. And that's the imagery they gave to said, okay, full stop. We have to, as spiritual leaders, specifically in New Earth energy, we've got to stop doing that. And so that was my epiphany moment this morning about self-acceptance, self-awareness, understanding. Stop putting self-doubt in the mix. Just because this is a new energetic space does not mean that we somehow can just disqualify ourselves. If you're just waking up to a talent or a gift, if that part of it's just activating in you to use, like you can't question yourself. You've got to start learning to trust. And does it take a little bit of practice? Yes. Does it take just like trust in any relationship? Trust with yourself is the same thing. It requires practice. It requires some flexing of some of those muscles. It requires listening, a lot of internal stillness and listening, and becoming familiar with it. Like you can't just decide today you're going to be this person and blah, go out and throw it to everybody. I'm an expert at the thing. If you haven't explored it and practiced it and had a way to trust that, then that would be inappropriate to do, because that can be very false and misleading until you've worked with that a little bit and have the trust and have the resonance internally to then project it out. That could happen very, very quickly, right? This is not like in the case of the surgeons, like you don't have to go to medical school for however long they do, like forever it seems like. You don't have to go to school for 8 years in order to do this. This is but sitting with and practicing and working and learning from others and trying and testing, like that is actually part of learning that process and being able to apply it in ways that you can work with. Anyways, that was me today. Having that epiphany and taking down self-doubt about where I am right now. I can walk into a room and feel incredibly confident at the business work that I have built up for 20 some years. I can walk in the room and be like, yeah, I've done this for 25 years and know exactly what I'm doing. I can go boom, boom, boom. This is how you do it. We're going to reorg structure. This is the language. These are the words. Here's all the things you're missing. There's your strategy. You're welcome. Thank you. Bye. Pay me the money. Right? Like I have no issue with that. But as I'm stepping into this new earth way of living and being and working, I feel like I have my training wheels on a bit and I'm going, okay, how do I do this now? Do I feel as confident as I do as the other part of myself? Not yet, but I'm learning to trust that. But I'm going to become more confident and more effective in my work that I do if I get and kick the self-doubt out of the way and fully embrace and embody where I am. So that was today's trauma lesson. Self-abuse lesson is not loving and trusting ourselves. And so it's a bit long, but thanks for sticking around and I'll see you guys tomorrow.